السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله على إحسانه وشكر له على تفضله وامتنانه، ولا إله إلا الله تعظيما لشأنه، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله داعي إلى رضوانه وعلى آله وأصحابه وإخوانه. أما بعد. إخواني في الله, we are continuing our lecture series regarding the signs of the Day of Judgment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَقَدْ جَاءَ أَشْرَاطُهَا, that verily the signs of the Day of Judgment have appeared. From the minor signs of the Day of Judgment you're taking tonight is sign number 9. Sign number 9, intisharul amn. There shall be a lot of security, there shall be a lot of peace in the lands of the Muslims. So from the minor signs of the Day of Judgment is intisharul amn. There shall be a lot of peace, there shall be a lot of security in the lands of the Muslims. The Prophet ﷺ, he says in authentic hadith, لا تقوم الساعة حتى يسير الراكب بين العراق ومكة لا يخاف إلا ضلال الطريق لا يخاف إلا ضلال الطريق. The hour will not come, the day of judgment will not come until a person will travel from Iraq by himself to Mecca. They are not afraid of anything except of getting lost on the way. So from the signs of the Day of Judgment is that there shall be a lot of security, that a person can travel freely without fearing anything. We took previously the hadith of Adi ibn Hatim radiallahu anhu. The Prophet ﷺ says, Ya Adi, hal ra'ayta al-Hira? Oh Adi, have you seen the city of Hira, which is the capital city of the Arabs in the Persian Empire in Iraq? He says, La, وَقَدْ أُنْبِئْتُ عَنْهَا. I've been told about it but I've never seen it. He says, لئن طالت بك حياة لترين الضعينة ترتحل من الحيرة إلى مكة حتى تطوف بالبيت لا تخاف أحدا إلا الله. Says عليه الصلاة والسلام, Oh Adi, have you seen the city of Hira? He says, no, but I've been told about it. He says, if you live a long life, you shall see a woman traveling all the way from Hira by herself to Mecca, performing the tawaf, and she does not fear anyone except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Adi says to himself, فَقُلْتُ فِي نَفْسِي مَا بَالُ دُعَارِ الطَّيِّ. What about the bandits from the tribe of Tay? Will they not harm this woman? So this is from the signs of the Day of Judgment. There shall be a lot of peace, there shall be a lot of security, that even a woman is able to travel by herself. Ikhwani fillah, this is a very important issue. This hadith mentioned by Prophet ﷺ, does it mean that a woman is allowed to travel by herself without a mahram? Are you understanding the question? Yes. Does it mean this hadith that a woman is allowed to travel by herself without a mahram based on this? The scholars, they say this is khabarul mahd. It is just a relation of story that's going to happen in the future. And it happened. Adi says, I saw this with my own eyes. However, we have a prohibition from our Prophet ﷺ that a woman cannot travel except with a mahram. قال عليه الصلاة والسلام لا تسافر المرأة إلا مع ذي محرم. That a woman cannot travel except with a mahram. The scholars have differed. The scholars are all in agreement about this issue, that a woman must travel with a man as a protector, as her escort. Are we together? Except for a few situations. Some of the scholars, they say if a woman wants to go perform the Hajj, the obligatory Hajj, she can travel with women who are trustworthy and a man who's a mahram with them. Other scholars, they say no. The only time a woman, like Imam al-Baghawi says, the only time a woman can travel without a mahram is al-kafira إذا أسلمت في بلاد الكفر. The disbelieving woman, if she becomes a Muslim, she's allowed to travel from the lands of the kuffar to the land of the Muslims by herself. وَالْأَسِيرَ إِذَا أَسْلَمَتْ مِنَ الْأَسْرِ. And the woman who's a prisoner in the lands of the kuffar, if she escapes, she's allowed to travel by herself. Ikhwani fillah, just on this issue of women, in 1930 of our, less than 100 years ago, 1930, the last century, yes. France, as we said, they were also part of the colonialism. They colonized many countries. But the worst crime France did to the Muslims in this century, or in the past century, is what they did in the country of Algeria. So they conquered Algeria from the year 1830 to the year 1962. And they massacred 15 to 20 million Muslims. They used to take scholars, ulama, you're an alim, very good. They put you in front of a cannon and they shoot you with a cannon. They blow you up with a cannon. And the biggest target of the French regime in Algeria was the woman. They discovered an interesting thing. They said the strength of the Muslim society is not the man, but the women behind them, the mothers and the wives. Those are the people who give strength to their men. If we can deal with these women, we have dealt with half of the society. So we need to target these women in their modesty. And we need to target these men in the chivalry, in how to be gentlemen, to lose that manhood, ar-rujula. So they said, let's take 11 women. It is now the year 1930 is approaching. 100 years we have conquered Algeria. We need to make a big festival. So let us prepare for this festival. So they took some few girls from Algeria, about 11 of them. And they taught them French language, the French culture, the French ethics, and everything. And 1930, they put a great hafla, a great celebration. 100 years we have conquered the Muslims of Algeria. We shall show the world that how we have civilized these people. We have civilized these Muslims. Call the British, call the Germans, call the Dutch, call the Portuguese, call every representative from every country to see how we as the French conquered the women of Algeria and civilized these Muslims and left the stupidity of hijab behind them. Are we together? So delegates have come, a big festival. These 11 girls have been trained everything about French. No hijab, nothing about the deen, complete. They have been divorced from the religion. وَجَاءَتَ السَّطْوَةُ الْكُبْرَى. And the greatest shock came to France in the year 1930. These 11 girls, they came to the hall وَيَلْبِسْنَ الْحِجَابِ, and they were kept their full hijab. They made a lot of noise, the newspapers of France. How? What are we doing in Algeria for the last 100 years? 100 years have passed. What were we doing in Algeria? We've not changed anything. They still have the hijab. The minister at the time is called Lacoste. He said one of the most famous words. He says, ماذا أفعل إذا كان القرآن أقوى في قلوبهم من فرنسا. ماذا أفعل إذا كان القرآن أقوى في قلوبهم من فرنسا. What do I do if the Quran has more strength in the hearts of these people than France? So this is how France started the war on hijab and more chivalry. So when you hear these stories, Muslims are anti-women. Who respects women more than us Muslims? Is there any society that respects women more than us? The mother is, who is the mother to us? Who is the wife to us? Who is the daughter to us? Taking care of how many daughters put you in Jannah. So Ikhwani, from the signs of the day of judgment is that there will be intishar al-amn. There shall be a lot of peace, a lot of security, so much so that a woman travels from the land of Hira to Mecca. She does not fear anyone except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sign number 10. ظهور النار في الحجاز. قال عليه الصلاة والسلام لا تقوم الساعة حتى تخرج النار من أرض الحجاز تضيء أعناق الإبل ببصرى. The Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام, he says, from the signs of the day of judgment is that a great fire will come from the land of Hijaz. This fire will be so great that the humps of the camels in the city of Basra shall have light, shall be illuminated. Are we together? Prophet ﷺ says a great fire will come from the land of Hijaz. Hijaz is which place? Riyadh, or which place is Hijaz? Which place of Saudi Arabia? Hijaz. Hijaz is the place of Jeddah, Mecca, Medina. This is the area of Hijaz. So Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah, he says that this event happened in my time. Imam al-Nawawi was in the 7th century. He says in the year 654 on the Hijri calendar, a great fire was seen coming from the city of Medina. This fire was so great that it covered and was seen by the people in the land of Sham. Ibn Kathir rahimahullah, he says in Bidayah al-Nihaya, from the events of the year 654 of the Hijri calendar, is a great fire appeared in the city of Medina until even the Bedouins saw it illuminating the humps of the camels in the city of Busra. Busra is in Syria, in a province called Dar'a, near Damascus. There's Basra in Iraq and there's Busra in Syria. So from the signs of the day of judgment is a great fire will appear from the land of Medina or from the land of Hijaz that will illuminate so far, like in Syria, that's hundreds and hundreds, or perhaps 2,000, 3,000 kilometers if I'm not wrong. Also, we'll mention later, from the major signs of the Day of Judgment is that there shall be great fires that will come and it shall gather all the people for the Day of Judgment. This will come later, inshallah. Sign number 11. Fighting the Turkish people. The Prophet ﷺ, he says in authentic hadith, لا تقوم الساعة حتى يقاتل المسلمون ترك وجوههم كأنها المجال المطرقة يلبسون شعر ويمشون في شعر. Prophet ﷺ, he says that the hour will not come, the day of judgment will not come until you Muslims, you shall fight the people of Turkish origin, the Turks. Says their faces is like a beaten up shield. Yamshuna fi sha'r. They wear woolen or shoes made out of, they wear clothes made out of hair. And they walk with shoes made out of hair. In a different hadith, the Prophet ﷺ says, لا تقوم الساعة حتى تقاتل ترك. The day of judgment will not be established until he shall fight the Turkish people. He continues to describe them. He says, صغار الأعين. They have very small eyes. حمر الوجوه. Their face is red complexion. ظلف الأنف. Their nose is small, but it's wide. كأن وجوههم المجان المطرقة. Like their faces are beaten up shields. Their faces are like a shield, round. Beaten up shields, they're very thick. The face is a thick, strong face, and also wide face. So from the signs of the Day of Judgment, ikhwani fillah, is we as the Muslims, we shall fight the people of Turkish origin. And ikhwani fillah, these are the bravest and most difficult people to fight in the world. If you watch the news sometimes, I know it's not a good example because most of them are Muslims. If you see the mixed martial arts, you see Khabib, Nurmagomedov, Islam Makhachev, Hamza Shimaev, all these people who win championships in these fights are from this area of the Turkish area. Turks people are not only from Turkey, from this Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Azerbaijan, all these countries, Turkmenistan. So from the signs of the Day of Judgment is you Muslims will fight these people of Turkish origin. And this happened many times in history. The very first time it happened, ikhwani fillah, is at the time of Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan, the 5th or the 6th Khalifa of the Muslims. Either the 5th or the 6th, if you're counting Al-Hasan ibn Ali as a Khalifa. So they fought in the lands of Iraq and behind it. When Muawiyah had this, he was very concerned. He says, don't fight those people. These are the people who are going to destroy the Arabs, as mentioned by the Prophet ﷺ. Also, we mentioned previously the issue of the fitna of the creation of the Quran and how Al-Ma'mun brought this fitna. Al-Ma'mun, his brother took over Al-Mu'tasim. Al-Mu'tasim, most of his army, he put people of Turkish origin. He died. His son Al-Wathiq Billah became the Khalifa. Thumma, he died. Then his brother Al-Mutawakkil became the Khalifa, and he removed the fitna of saying the Quran is the creation of Allah. However, the army was full of people of Turkish origin. And these people, they assassinated the Khalifa of the Muslims, Al-Mutawakkil, Ibn Mu'tasim, Ibn Harun al-Rashid. And they continued assassinating Khalifa after Khalifa. Thereafter, the Turkish people, they became the rulers of the Islamic Empire. Most of our history, the people of Turkish origin are the ones who ruled the Islamic Empire. From the Seljuks, the Mamalik, the Nurdin Zenki and his family, Salahuddin Ayyubi is Kurd, but they count as one family. And the Banu Uthman and the Ottoman Empire. So we as Muslims, we shall fight people of Turkish origin. Sigar al-A'yun, they have small eyes. كأن وجوههم المجان المطرقة, like their faces are beaten up shields. And from the greatest fitna and the greatest trial that has happened to this ummah, ikhwani fillah, it came from the people of Genghis Khan. La'natullah alayh. Genghis Khan from the land of Mongolia is a Tatar and is counted to be amongst the people mentioned in this hadith. Even more specifically him and his group. These people, they appeared in the land of Mongolia. And they entered the land of the Muslims about 605, 606 of the Hijri calendar. And the massacre they did in the land of the Muslims, and how they almost finished Islam for all of eternity, is something that is truly scary. And we shall look more at this history of the Mongolians and the Tatar, for they are the ones who are specifically or more specifically mentioned in this hadith of Prophet ﷺ, that they are the people who shall cause a lot of harm to the Muslims. They killed so many Muslims. What is the story of Genghis Khan? What is the story of Hulagu Khan and the Muslims? This is what we shall look at the forthcoming lecture. Wallahu alam. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.